Hey, it's Kyle here, and today I'll be reviewing Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Many people might recognize the author's name. Andy Weir is probably best known for being the author of The Martian, which in my opinion is one of the best books written in the past decade or so, and obviously adapted into a very popular and successful movie starring Matt Damon. And Project Hail Mary is his third book. I really enjoy Andy Weir's writing. His books are all kind of sci-fi, but they come with a feeling of being very scientifically authentic. Like everything he kind of goes over in his books, you always feel like, yeah, I think this would be realistic. There's nothing in this that doesn't seem far-fetched that could happen sometime soon. Because all his books are kind of set roughly in our time period, so it doesn't feel like, oh yeah, this is not really possible in our world. Where when you read his books, you're like, yeah, I think this is possible. Even though they might be, but the way he writes them in such a realistic manner with a lot of scientific facts backing him up, it kind of comes with that feeling of, you know, this could be legit, this could happen, which I kind of enjoy. He also has a great sense of humor. His main characters always are very sarcastic, I should say, very funny, so you always know when you read his books there's going to be some funny lines in it, and Project Hail Mary definitely holds that up. Before I get into the review a little bit more, please hit that like button for this video. We really appreciate the support, and please subscribe to the channel. Again, really appreciate the support. So with that being said, let me get into the basic plot of Project Hail Mary. The basic concept is a scientist basically notices this weird energy kind of coming from the sun and it's going towards Venus for some reason. And they can't really figure out what it is, so they kind of crowdsource it to the scientists around the world. And it's like, hey, can anybody figure out what this weird thing is? I'm not sure what's, maybe my equipment's malfunctioning, I'm not sure. I think it's realistic, but let's figure out what's going on here. And basically, it is then discovered that for some reason, the power is slowly being drained from our sun, and which is going to cause temperatures to start to drop on Earth. And basically, it's happening at such a rate that they basically conclude, I believe it's within like 20, 25, 30 years, that basically it will cause another ice age on Earth and pretty much wipe out all life on Earth unless they can figure out what's happening to the sun and how to reverse it. And thus is born Project Hail Mary. This won't really be a plot spoiler, they kind of figured this out early in the book, but basically what they discover, there's kind of like these kind of cellular organisms, almost kind of like plankton. They're basically feeding on energy from the sun and then kind of migrating away from the sun towards Venus. And so they're basically almost eating the energy from the sun and slowly killing it. And it's discovered while they're trying to figure out what's going on that, that several of the nearby stars to our solar system have also started to dim like our sun, so that NASA and other space agencies around the world conclude that this same organism must be affecting these other suns. However, they discover there's one sun in this radius that is the only one that's not impacted. And they kind of figure out, like, there has to be a reason why this one sun is not impacted. Let's put together a spaceship and send it to this sun and figure out why. And that's the basic concept behind Project Hail Mary. I'm not going to get into what they discovered there because that gets into major plot spoilers, but it's very fascinating. The Project Hail Mary becomes like this big worldwide effort, so a lot of the first part of the book is kind of focusing on how all the countries in the world deal with this crisis and are trying to basically save the planet before it's basically destroyed within a few decades. The way they kind of tell the story through this one is very interesting. Is basically the book starts with an individual waking up on a spaceship with amnesia, and he's not sure how he got there. And then the chapters kind of rotate back and forth as he regains his memory of him flashing back to events basically at the beginning of Project Hail Mary, and then when he comes back, he kind of, that's how he's regaining his memory. So we're basically seeing him regain his memory through flashbacks. So he's slowly basically remembering who he is, why he's on this spaceship, what Project Hail Mary is, what's wrong with the sun, what is he supposed to do here. So it's kind of a very interesting way to kind of, as you're reading, to kind of see, one, him try to solve this crisis, but then through flashbacks, I had to discover, like, how did this crisis come about? What's the background? How did he end up on the spaceship? Why is he here by himself? All that type of stuff. So I'd say if you read The Martian and loved it, I would definitely recommend Project Hail Mary. I think I still like The Martian a little bit more, but Project Hail Mary is amazing. I really loved it. If you like science fiction in general, recommend it. If you're into like more current space travel stuff, like the stuff of NASA and all the stuff that's going on with all the private companies shooting up stuff into space and satellites being sent to Mars and all that type of stuff, I would definitely recommend this, because this book is, again, very much leans heavily on scientific fact. So it reads more like a realistic science fiction book versus something that's more far-fetched. Overall, Andy Weir is one of my favorite authors. I love his writing style. I love the humor he brings to it. I love the scientific element he brings to the stories. And I would for sure recommend Project Hail Mary. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, hit that like button if you haven't yet, and please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the support. As always, if you have any book recommendations for me, let me know in the comment section below. I'm always interested to see what people recommend for me. But anyway, again, hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time, and happy reading.